So, today is July 5th. Happy 4th of July. In this great divided America. Anyways, I wanted to do a check in about my health because I'm doing so much better in one area. So, I'm standing up without the cane here and there with little pain. And after only 30 minutes to an hour is about how much I get before it gets intense and I get thrown to the ground against my will. But I'm lasting hours before that happens with no cane. So if I use the cane, I can stand up for 4 or 5 hours now before any pain, and I can always bend forward. So as far as my kidneys go, getting much better. I am feeling my GI in its full glory. So my GI is better than it was, but it's still definitely in really bad shape. And that's not going to heal itself. I can tell with the GI, I'm going to have to be careful until I get some type of surgery or something. Something is permanently wrong in the GI, but it can, as long as I don't lift or do anything weird, like when I turned 2 days ago, I went to turn to the left. I actually screamed and almost like jumped out of the bed because I got a sharp, worse pain in the exact spot that I have light pain normally just from twisting the wrong way. So there's definitely something inside there, cancer, glass, steel shards, something in my GI. Now, with all the pharmaceutical poisonings I've received in my life, well, Renadine warns you about the GI getting cancer. I've been on that Renadine that was literally said to give you in GI tumors and problems with the kidneys and all that type of stuff. But I doubt that that's it. I also got a letter recently saying that steel shards were accidentally put in my pharmaceuticals and those were recalled as well. And that could cause GI discomfort. And there's money awarded for people like me for that. There's so many others too. Big Pharma has used me as their own little guinea pig from age 5 years old. Why did they do this? Why have I been Big Pharma's guinea pig? Why, at the age of 7, did I experience an overdose from multiple medications all being mixed around in my body? Why did I have my body changed forever for life? Why have I had problems with my nervous system since that day? Because dangerous pharmaceuticals were given to me, and my mother was ranting at doctors to give her as many pills as possible to give to her son. Until the day I met this foster mother that loved pills so much to give to her son, I only had one medication, something for my ADHD, that's it. But once when I met this mother of mine, the pharmaceuticals, prescribed or not prescribed, I'm not even talking about just prescribed. My mother was going nuts with over the counter medications, her own medications giving to her son, messing around with things like Benadryl, prescriptions, opiates, and this is a 7-year-old we're talking about. So my mother went off the rails. But Big Pharma has been doing this to orphan children for years. My problem is I had a psychotic mother who pushed the limits of how much drugs can be put in her son's body. I mean, literally, the doctors were like, hey, you got to calm down with all these prescriptions. Your son's getting hurt. And my mother's like, no, we want more, we want more. In Texas, same thing. This doctors would be like, your son doesn't need all that. And my mother would be like, no, I want more. I know best. I need more. I know best. We need more pills. And that was my mother's attitude through my entire life, through everything. I need pills. Tim, somebody who's not even related to me, needs pills. Everybody needs pills, but my mother, her psychotic behavior can continue no matter what any of us say. And I'm the one who has to suffer today because of it. Now, do I have to suffer? No. Could I get help at the doctors? Yes. Could I live my own normal life working a job? Yes, but it requires Social Security working with me. It requires my father telling the truth. It requires my real medical records representing the actual Zachary Newell. If Zachary Newell is some fantasy my mother created, I will continue dying and having seizures on the side of the road. I'll continue waking up bloody month after month after month, having issues and issues and issues, and I'll continue having to live in the woods. I'll work real hard, get an apartment, help lots of people, build a good life. Oop, I'm injured at work. I go out of work, but I don't have documentation of my neurological disorder, so that becomes a problem at work. It becomes a problem with the doctors, so now I can't return. The bills stack up. They're giving me an eviction notice. All I have to do is go back to work, but I'm injured. I'm not able to work. I can't even stretch to get a pack of cigarettes. I can't even stretch to get the rice on the top of my fridge if I need it. I can't bend down to tie my own shoes. So if I can't bend down, and if I'm in extreme pain from 1 minute of tying shoes, and if I fell to the ground in my own kitchen from trying to grab rice, well, that's a big problem, isn't it? But if I get the help I need at the doctor's, then I could go back to work, right? So what's the problem here? The doctors won't help me as long as my mother and father continue misinforming them, keeping secrets, and misinforming them to this day. To this day, when I go to the emergency room, they're expecting what my mother called me. They're expecting this shithead that my mother and father created. But instead, they get me and they're confused. So all they do is pass me around like a bad cookie and keep on writing notes. But nobody has a clue. And God forbid I can't talk. Oh my God, that's when my records, like Lowell General Hospital, Saints Memorial, I guarantee you 90% of my medical records are complete bullshit. Complete fantasies, fraudulent. I got medical records that probably were a seizure or a fall, and then they try to call it something else. Or, oh, I can't move my legs in the morning because of this neurological disorder. How much you want to bet they put it down as stubbornness or, oh, he's being defiant? Yeah, that's what they probably called it. I am being purposely defiant, even though really it's a medical condition and I'd like help with it, but you guys are refusing to give somebody who's having seizures with a neurological disorder any actual care with his illnesses. I mean, goddamn, my stomach has been destroyed. I have acid reflux, and what, you're gonna poison me some more with Renadine? You're gonna literally put bad shit in my Renadine and then blame me because you poisoned me during childhood. And then when COVID hits, I'm supposed to work 50, 60 hours with the flu, with the neurological disorder. I just had a seizure on the side of the road. A car just ran over my hair. I'm all bloodied up. I got a limp. My leg hurts now. All this shit. I got an infection, 3 of them in my mouth. And that's what's causing the seizures with the cold and with the lights of the cars going by. And everybody just cool with that. Keep it. Oh yeah, let's just have the disabled people keep commerce going during COVID, while all the rich people sit at home and play with their penises and play video games, and the women play with their hair and their eyelashes in their bedroom, and you guys bake a nice, beautiful little cheesecake and stuff like that. Yeah, let's have the person bleeding out on the side of the road keeping commerce going, right? That's necessary, right? For me to be bleeding, and I tried to leave. Don't think this was like a choice for me. I tried to stay home with COVID, but I was told that I would be thrown out of my housing no matter what I applied for. I went down to all the places. I went down to all the places during the whole flu. I was sick as a dog, going to every place trying to get help. And eventually, nope. My work told me I'm fired, I lose my job, they need me back unless I get paperwork from the doctor. The doctor said I had the regular flu, and that only means a couple days. When I tried to go back to the doctor, they wouldn't schedule an appointment. When I tried to go back to the emergency room, they were less than helpful. So because doctors were less than helpful, I had no other choice because I didn't have proper documentation to leave work. This is always the case. Even if I get hit by a car and there's millions of witnesses, it becomes a problem staying out of work because I have other pre-existing conditions. Because let's say I get hit by a car and the doctor fixes the broken leg, but the pain from the broken leg is causing me seizures and falls. they'll put me right back to work with a broken leg because they don't know anything about the neurological disorder. This is the case it always is for me. You don't know how many times, like one time, I had a seizure and I pulled something. I was in the shower and I noticed that my testicles were filled with blood. And I kept on checking. I said, "Oh my God, my testicles are filled with blood. I just saw it. I'm in the shower. I see it. Oh my God, something's wrong here. I got a pain in my GI and my testicles are filled with blood." So I go to the emergency room. They tell me to see a they tell me to see a primary care. I get a bunch of jokers. They don't give me any paperwork to stay out of work. So the next day, while I wait to go to the primary care and I start calling the primary care every minute of my life, I'm forced to go to work. I say, "Oh, I can't show up for work right now. I'm bleeding internally. I got pictures of this." They say, "Do you got documentation from your doctor?" I say, "Not yet, but I will." They said, "Oh no, you need to call them now and they need to send it over." So I call the doctor. I tell them I went to the emergency room. They say they can't write up any paperwork, sorry. So I call back my work, and my work says, "Well, even if you're bleeding internally, you have to show up unless your doctors give you paperwork at the emergency room." I say, "I have emergency room paperwork, but they did very little there, and I don't think it excuses me until I go." Then finally, when I went into the primary care, first they tried to act like I was some psycho kid that wanted to flash them my private parts. But after they finally saw my private parts and saw the blood, then they were like, "Oh my God, this is real." And then they said, "Okay, you need to go to this person, and you need to go to this person, and here's a note to keep you out." And they even wrote the note wrong. They wrote the do not lift order wrong, and wouldn't give me another one for 30 days. So my company has writing in the book that says that I have to lift for Coca-Cola because I'm the only employee that does not have a do not lift order. And I'm yet the only employee that really can't lift. All the girls at my job can lift, but they got a do not lift order from their good doctors. Me, I'm bleeding internally and I can't even get the fucking note. Now, why would that be? Why would a 27-year-old person living on the street or a 27-year-old single mother be able to get a do not lift order for nothing? Meanwhile, I can't get one for internal bleeding. That's again because my mother and father said that I make up fantasies, that all my illnesses are made up, that I'm mentally ill, that I'm a pyromaniac, I burn down people's houses, I'm a serial killer out to get people, I am mentally ill making up stories. This is what my mother used to prevent anybody from catching her in her crimes. My mother was lying to doctors, manipulating doctors, and when I used to say something like, "I want my swimming medal back," that my mother stole from me, and I want my mother to stop making up stories about me with that swimming medal, then my mother would say, "No, you're making up fantasies. No, you're crazy. No, you're mentally ill. No, we need to get you on drugs. No, no, this medal you stole from an African American." Yes, my mother would say. Meanwhile, it's all my mother's fantasies, and the doctors are buying every minute of it. Then, when the doctors don't buy it, then I get trafficked to Texas. Then the doctors hear about the overdose there, and I get trafficked to New Mexico. No doctors in New Mexico, no doctors in Maine. Get brought back to Massachusetts, and my mother story tells again. So, of course, with all my mother's storytelling and lying to doctors, today, when I go to the doctors, I can't get shit done. Shit, not shit. So that's the real reason why I'm getting evicted. Because my mother and father lied to doctors. I can't get the paperwork necessary to get back to work or get Social Security. Plus, my father lied to Social Security and a lot of the programs I went to. So I mean, everything I need to survive, everything from a shelter to driving to a car to eating to sleeping in a shelter to working at a job, all that I cannot do until we get this straightened out. What will not happen because my father wants me to keep a secret, dig a hole, and go die in it already. That's what he wants. His wife already passed away, the one who did this to me. Now he wants to finish the job. He wants me to go die in the woods. That way nobody ever has to deal with his wife's shit again. Okay, my second wife did all this shit, so all we gotta do is get rid of the little orphan kid and we're all better, right? So let's just keep quiet, ignore the little orphan kid, no matter how many times. And this isn't like something new. I'm talking about at age 16, my mother was popping Vicodin. She got caught red-handed, and I'm the one who got blamed. This is constantly the case. I bring up something horrible that's happening to me, and my father blames me. I say, my mother poisoned me, I need medical care, and my father goes, okay, let's punish you some more. That's going to help, right? Or I go, this happened to me, and then they go, no, 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 you're a thief. You're the one who stole it. Or I go, look at the swimming medal I won, and they say, no, 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 you stole that, and you're a liar, and then you make it up stories. Blah, blah. This is constantly the case. I come up with something that was really hard to talk about, like my mother drugging me with pills that she's not supposed to, and then my father just adds insult to injury. So I'm going to try to keep on holding on, but I've talked to my father about this. Maybe this is the 100th time. It started right away with the overdose. As soon as the overdose happened, the teachers were calling home. I spoke up at the doctor's office in front of my mother and father. My mother lied through her teeth in front of my father, calling it an allergy attack. There was many times after that it was brought up. I brought it up at the doctor's office in Texas. I had lots of falls, shakes, so there was lots to go over. And all I'm asking here is to be able to live my life without somebody else's bullshit disqualifying me from living like a human being. I do not think that anybody is living in the woods like an animal just because their mother wanted to story tell to doctors. Just me. I'm the only motherfucker that has to live in the woods like an animal because his mother continuously lied to doctors to cover up her mistakes. No matter how many jobs I get, no matter how many shelters I go to, no matter how many times I apply for Social Security, it's always going to be a problem. I cannot change my mother's and father's decisions. But what we can do is make our future decisions better. Now, I've done everything. My decisions are top notch. There is no more better decisions I can make. I've made like driving. I've already given up driving like I'm supposed to until I get better with the neurological disorder. I've made every good decision that I'm supposed to. But there's one decision I need made before that anything changes, and that's my father has to come clean. Now, I have come clean. I'm decided to be 100% honest with everybody, no matter how depressing it is, no matter how much I hate talking about it. I do not like talking about this, and sometimes I get very mad when people are like adding insult to injury. I tell you about how my mother beat me with a ruler and poisoned me, and then you tell me I'm a fantasy spinner. That's a break a nose word right there. That you don't call somebody who just went through horrific trauma. That's like somebody in Vietnam getting shot at, seeing a baby bleed, and then watching people run on fire, and then you tell that man he wasn't in Vietnam. Yes, that man with PTSD who saw all those awful things in Vietnam. Then you go up to him and go, never happened, you're making it up. That Vietnam vet would be killing you. You would be on the end of that Vietnam vet's spear in 30 seconds. If some Vietnam vet had to watch people lit on fire, babies getting stabbed, horrible drug use, his best friends dying, he comes back to the States, he's crying, talking about this to his brother that got to stay home, and then his brother goes, no, you didn't. Oh, that brother would be dead in 30 seconds. You come home from Vietnam, you're opening up about the horrible things that happened to you in Vietnam, and then your brother decides to say, no, 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 you had a party in Vietnam. That's what it was. It was just a party. I heard on the news that you guys were just doing drugs and partying. That's it. So that's what I believe. That would be the most, that's something awful that you would definitely not be able to take. But see, I'm expected to let my mother and father do that to me. Some African American chokes me out, gives me food poisoning, chokes out a naked white girl in another room, just horrible stuff happening, uses me for bait so he can shoot a bear, just one thing after another. And that's just one example. I have other examples with my mother too. And then I open up about it to my father or a family member, and then my father goes, "No, no, no, it's made up. You're a liar. You're a fantasy spinner." Blah, 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 blah. I lied no more than any other kid. Don't get me wrong. I had my fun, friendly lies, let me see. Oh, I met Superman last night, or something like that, or I'm really Harry Potter. Stuff like that, fun little stuff. I was a kid. I didn't really get to be a kid though. Remember that. If you said you were Harry Potter and you were a kid, you probably had nothing wrong or nothing happened to you. But when I said I was Harry Potter in Texas, my mother wanted to drug the shit out of me. She tried to manipulate that one into a bunch of stories. It didn't work in Texas, by the way. The doctors and the teachers in Texas were too smart to drug and poison a child for big pharma just on some fake fantasy spun bullshit. Just because I watched Harry Potter last night and my father read me the book Harry Potter, and then I took a little gel sharpie and made a lightning bolt and said, "Look, I'm Harry Potter," doesn't make the kid who's 8 years old mentally ill. It means the kid has an active imagination and likes Harry Potter. That's it. But see, I wasn't allowed to do that type of stuff. When I did that, I was crazy. I was psycho and I needed to be drugged and put on medicine. I was out of control.